Hello everyone, welcome back. Still Saturday, and I'm still for I don't know what I was just about to say. Still under the weather, that's what I was going to say. I am feeling better than what I was this morning. So, this is part 4, The Purpose of Life, by Heffrey Lang. Video.
But in any case, so very quickly, I was wondering, does the Quran really emphasize reason? Does it really emphasize choice? Does it really emphasize suffering? How much more time do I have, Madam Speaker? 35? 25, okay. I'll do the best I can. So let me just try to indicate to you, as I read through the Quran, and I'll try to get through this quickly because you guys look tired. And I know you're interested to find out how that basketball game is turning out. Let's see, does the Quran really emphasize reason as essential to human growth, to this experience we're having on earth, to our very purpose? And the answer is definitely yes. So much so that even Western Orientalists, people who wrote against the Quran, said that this is a major feature of the Quran, a feature that you cannot miss. Henri Lemens, writing in the early part of this century, one of the famous Orientalists, who wrote very much against Muslims, hoping to unseat them from their religious belief. He wrote, "The Quran," and this is his quote, "is not far from considering unbelief as an infirmity of the human mind." Unbelief is, he thought, and he was saying it mockingly, is like, you can't think straight. You're not using your mind right, as my father used to say. Maxime Rodinson wrote at length about the rationalistic approach of the Quran to faith. And this rational tone of the Quran is one of its most salient features, beyond doubt. I'll just give you a few quotations. One of its fundamental themes is that people ignore or reject God's signs and corrupt religion precisely because they do not use their reason. And the Quran will say that again and again and again. The Quran says about the disbelievers, they refuse to reason and are a people who do not reason. I have 7 such quotes in the Quran. The Quran will say, will you not reason? It mentions that 14 times to the reader. God reveals signs and lessons and admonitions so that...
Reason for what? Or reason to what? Like, you have to listen to the reason of why your religion isn't true, or why our religion is better? Like, is that what they're trying to say? Because, I wouldn't listen either. What are you talking about? So I guess I don't understand exactly if that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying they said. That makes sense.
And this is a quote from the Quran, perhaps you will finally use your reason. There are 8 such statements in the Quran.
Oh, okay. I think I took it the wrong way. Maybe.
From the Quran's viewpoint, reason and faith are allies, just as illogic and false belief are allies. And it clearly sets the conflict along these lines. It says the right way has henceforth become clear from error. Those who benefit most from the Quran are persons of insight. 16 such statements in the Quran. Firmly rooted in knowledge, 8 such statements. Use the reason, 10 such statements. Stand on clear evidence and proof, 7 such statements. Those who oppose this revelation are deluded, 9 such statements. In manifest error, 28 such statements. Ignorant, 15. Foolish, 3. Have no understanding, 9. Only follow surmise and conjecture, 9. And blindly adhere to tradition, multiple times. It states that. In an almost Socratic style, the Quran repeatedly quizzes the reader and calls into question his or her assumptions. Again and again, it asks us, what do you think? 18 such statements. Have you considered this or that? 13. Did you suppose? 7. Sounds like a math teacher. Do they not ponder? 2 such statements. Do you think? Do you even think? 18 such statements. The message is clear. To gain truer faith, we need to free ourselves from inherited notions and examine our beliefs rationally. Learning plays a key role in human development. Read the Quran, exhorts the reader. For God taught us the use of the pen and taught humankind what it otherwise could not know. In life, nature, and history, in the Quran, there are signs and lessons for those who are wise. There are 21 such statements. The Quran states over 100 times that it has been revealed to make things clear. I thought the author of this Quran must have had a strong mathematical insight, a natural mathematician. All throughout, when I was reading, I was trying to imagine what he must have been like. God teaches humanity both directly and indirectly, and sometimes so subtly that we are unaware of his instruction. Thus, he tests us in multifarious ways. Of course, I just want to make it clear, Muslims believe God himself is the author of the Quran. Sometimes I give this speech and people come away and ask me, Jeff, who is the author of the Quran anyway? But I didn't know. So I was just trying to figure it out. Repetition is indicative of the importance given to certain ideas. It should be observed that the Arabic word for knowledge in the Quran, ilm, appears 854 times in the text in its various forms. It's one of the most frequently occurring words. So the Quran really does put great emphasis on reason in our spiritual quest. Does it put great emphasis on choice? Well, here's what it has to say. Let there be no compulsion in religion. The right way is henceforth clear from error. It's a choice, and it must be freely made. And it's a choice between correctness and error, between right and error, between reason and falsity. Had God willed, he could have indeed guided you all, it says in the Quran. I went, why not, I thought. Why not just guide us all? Why let some of us choose to go this way and that way? The Quran was constantly provoking me as I read it. Do not the unbelievers know that had God willed, he could have guided all mankind? Oh, do not the believers know that had God willed, he could have guided all mankind? Okay, I'm an unbeliever, I thought. Tell me, why didn't you guide all mankind? If you want us to be in conformity of your will, just make us that way. And if we had so willed, we could have given every soul its guidance. Why did you let us be creatures of choice? Just program us to do the right thing. Never make a wrong choice. Had God willed, he could have made us all one community. He could have made us clones of one another. But he didn't. It wasn't part of his plan. Enlightenment has come from your Lord. He who sees does so to his own good. He who is blind is so to his own hurt. It's your choice. It says it again and again in the Quran. Remember when I was reading this, I was a disbeliever. And this scripture is constantly reminding me, it's your choice, Jeff. It's no compulsion in this. It's your choice. It's up to you. You're probably not reasoning correctly here. Think a little harder. Come on, try. It's just a few more steps. And whoever is guided is only to his own gain, and whoever is stray, I am only a warner. It's your choice. We have revealed to you the book with the truth for mankind. He who lets himself be guided does so for his own good. He who goes astray, it's to his own hurt. It's his choice. There are many, many such references. I'll stop there. But you get the point. The Quran clearly emphasizes that choice plays a key role in our development. But what about suffering? Suffering's the biggie, right? That's the real major question. What does the Quran have to say about suffering? Because every religion deals with suffering in a different way. It's either something you have to be saved from, and so some religions stress salvation, or it's something that you have to sort of transcend through meditation and training so you can sort of not feel it so much, get above it and beyond it. Some religions see it as primarily punishment. Some of the more ancient religions see it as the result of the precarious and whimsical, control of many gods working against each other, playing with human beings. Different religions have dealt with it in different ways.
This is going along with kind of what he said, but it's a little different. So, it's going along with kind of what he said, but a little different. I actually just said that. So, I'm sure everyone knows who Mother Teresa was. I didn't know much about her. Always hear how great she is. Then, a couple years ago, I read about. Sorry, it's lunchtime, so I had to have a peanut butter sandwich because I haven't eaten much. So I apologize. So, anyways, the thing about Mother Teresa. Sorry, my brain gets sidetracked very easily. Mother Teresa had a hospital, and she would treat people. Now, if you're going to go to a hospital, you think you're going to get treated. You would get treated with like prayer and stuff like that, which I found that a lot of times if you have a gunshot wound or a stab wound or cancer, praying is nice. But if you have somebody who can perform a surgery to stitch me up on the inside or remove that bullet, that'd probably go a little bit further to me. That's just me. But she believed the more suffering you went through, the closer you were to God. And her hospital was known for being pretty brutal to people. And I'm not saying that to tarnish her. I'm only saying it that was her belief. So that was what she did. And I'm like, we have this thing with science and medicine. It's come a long way. It's not perfect. But I truthfully don't know anyone who's gotten better by prayer. My uncle, people prayed for him. Leukemia doesn't care about prayer. Of course, it doesn't really care about most modern medicine either. But it's I'm only bringing it up to where sometimes I look at things and I'm like, that's a little too far. I don't think I could get behind something like that. But I understand why they do it. They do it in their belief of insert religion. There's some speed bumps for me that are just difficult. But, that's just me.
But almost all of them, I would indeed say all of them, have sort of seen it as something not so good. But let's see what the Quran has to say about it. Something to be avoided, to transcended, to be saved from. The Quran says just the opposite. You are going to experience it. You will suffer in this life. And it plays a fundamental role in your development, in your growth, and in what you are to become. This scripture didn't just say you're going to experience it. It said you should embrace it. You should struggle through it. Your life should be a struggle, it says. It should be a jihad. Yeah, right? But that's what it says. Jihad means struggle. When the Quran says jihad, it's most often not in the context of fighting. Qital is the Arabic word for fighting. But it says even in the Mecca verses, long before Muslims had to defend themselves against their oppressors, it mentions that you have to struggle in the path of God. With the Quran, it even says. Struggle in the path of God with this Quran. Life is a struggle. It says in one verse, most assuredly we will try you with something of danger and hunger and the loss of worldly goods, with the loss of your lives and the fruits of your labor. Most assuredly we will try you. It's not just talking about evil people, good people. But give the good news, the glad tidings. Be happy for those who are patient in adversity and suffering. Good news, I thought? Doesn't the author understand the terrible effects of suffering? Give the good news to those who are patient through adversity, who when calamity befalls them say, truly unto God we belong and truly unto him we shall return. In other words, that this could benefit them. It was a remarkable statement. Here's another one. Do you think that you can enter paradise without having the like of those who passed away before you? And the next verses start to explain these people were good people who suffered terribly. Do you think that you can enter paradise without going through the same? Why, I thought? Why do we have to suffer in life? Misfortune and hardship befell them, and so shaken were they that the apostle and the believers with him would exclaim, when will God's help come? These are good people. When will God's help come? Oh, truly, God's help is always near. You will certainly be tried in your possessions and yourselves, the Quran tells the reader. You're going to face hardship. It's guaranteed. Every soul must taste of death, and we try you with calamity and prosperity, both as a means of trial. And to us you are returned. You are going to have hardship here. There is going to be no heaven on earth. This environment is made to be an environment of adversity. It is made to be an environment where you have to work, where you have to struggle, where you have to strive. And it plays a key role. Oh man, truly you've been toiling to your Lord in painful toil, but you shall meet him. You're toiling, yes, but you shall meet him. We certainly created man to face distress. What, I thought? We certainly have created man to face distress. You made us to face distress? Does he think that no one has power over him? Sometimes people get, so down, they just think, this can't be a God. Look how I'm suffering. He will say, I have wasted much wealth. Some people just become totally devoted to worldly aims. Does he think that no one sees him? Have we not given him 2 eyes to see with, a tongue, and 2 lips to communicate with, to learn from by communicating? Can't he see around him? Can't he tell from communication with other people? Haven't we pointed out to him the 2 conspicuous ways? What are the 2 conspicuous ways? But he attempts not the uphill climb. One of them is the uphill climb. And it says this is the way you should be pursuing. And what will make you comprehend the uphill climb? It is to free a slave, or to feed in a day of hunger, an orphan nearly related, or the poor one lying in the dust. Then he or she is of those who believe, and exhorts one another to patience, and exhorts one another to mercy. You have not attained to faith until you struggle the uphill climb. It's telling us you should pursue the uphill climb. What is the uphill climb? Reaching out to your fellow man who suffers, to feed the poor one, to help the poor soul that's lying in the dust. And all over the world there are people in that state. And we watch the news as if it's just entertainment. And the Quran tells us this is something you should involve yourself in. That is the road that you should travel. It describes a successful life as an uphill climb. Well, I can see I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to tie this up in about 15 minutes, I guess. But definitely the Quran emphasizes these 3 elements in the human drama. But as I read through it, I couldn't see how it all fit together. I mean, why didn't God just... Why? Why do we have to experience these? What purpose do they play? Just pop us in the head, beam us up, I thought. Well, one thing, like I mentioned before, the Quran will repeatedly emphasize that we're here to grow and to learn. And I'll give you 4 or 5 quick verses because I know you're tired. It says, Our Lord, and raise up in their midst a messenger from among them, who shall recite unto them your signs, and that shall teach them the book and the wisdom, and who shall cause them to grow. We have to learn wisdom in the book, and Revelation in particular, and who shall cause us to grow. And we have sent among you of yourselves a messenger to recite our signs to you and to cause you to grow. Truly God was gracious to the believers, this is in the 3rd surah, when he raised up from among them a messenger from themselves to recite his signs to them and to cause them to grow. It is he who has sent among you among the unlettered people a messenger from among them to recite his signs and to cause them to grow. These are all distinct references. Just 2 more. There are many more. And the soul and that which breathed into it, its immorality and its God consciousness. He is indeed successful who causes it to grow. And he is indeed a failure who stunts it. And in the 92nd surah, Surah Al-Layl, it says, Far removed from it will be the righteous who give his wealth that he may grow.
We're going to go ahead and end it right there. A little bit longer than I wanted, but we get there. I didn't really contribute much on this one. I don't feel like I did much the last one. Every time I go to talk, I feel like I'm going to start coughing. And I was enjoying the video. By the way, I think I forgot to say this was a donator request by Haneen. So I should have said that at the beginning, and I forgot all about it. So I'm saying it now. You can donate to the channel. There's a thanks button. You don't have to. You can subscribe to the channel. That's not an option. You have to. Do you mind? Hey. Give a thumbs up. Don't give a thumbs down. The thumbs down killer. It's a new serial killer. He's traveling the world. And he's just cutting off thumbs. So you don't want to do that. So always give a thumbs up. And then last but not least, until next time, have a good day, have a good night.